and I have 35 unread books sitting on my bookshelves. Let's fix that. Today's video is going to be episode 2 of my TBR Takedown series, and I really want to narrow down this number to at least under 30 in this video and down to 20 unread books before the end of the year, which is totally doable if I stop buying books. The first book I'm reading for this video is Everything is Tuberculosis by John Green. If you guys watched my August TBR jar video or literally any other TBR jar video I filmed in all of 2025, you must be so proud of me because I've said I was going to read this for my monthly TBR every single month since this came out, and I'm finally doing it. I'm 50 pages into it and I'm really enjoying it. If you don't know what this book is about, this is a nonfiction work by John Green, the author of The Fault in Our Stars, Looking for Alaska, Turtles All the Way Down, Paper Towns, An Abundance of Catherines. And this is his second nonfiction book. That could be wrong. And it is about how everything in history leads back to tuberculosis. I'm learning so much, already 50 pages into it. I was telling Sam the facts from this book over lunch, and this quote right here describes everything. At the time, I knew almost nothing about tuberculosis. To me, it was a disease of history, something that killed depressive 19th century poets, not present tense humans. But as a friend once told me, nothing is so privileged as thinking history belongs to the past. Yeah, okay. I'll update you guys soon. Oh, and this copy is signed by John Green. So cool. To update my Goodreads because I finished Everything is Tuberculosis, and this review right here has me cracking up. All this person said is, "This is the most John Green thing I've ever seen." Why is that so real? Sorry, the lighting is being so weird. I have lights on in the house. I don't know what's going on. So I'm giving this book 5 stars. It is such an important read. Whether you read nonfiction or not, I would still recommend it to you. I don't really read that much nonfiction apart from memoirs, but seriously, I learned so much, and John Green put so much time and care into researching tuberculosis, and you can tell. Like I said in an earlier clip, I've learned so much that I'm telling Sam these random facts and honestly horrible facts about tuberculosis. And when things are really heavy, like, I tend to remember them. The best way I would describe this book is when you're scrolling on TikTok or your form of social media and you come across the saddest video you've ever seen, and when you go to the comments, the top comment is always, "And suddenly all of my problems seem so small." I don't know if that happens to other people, but it happens to me all the time because I have so many sad videos come up on my For You page and I engage with them, and I need to stop doing that. That describes this. I feel like I have 0 problems after reading this, truly. And the social injustice around tuberculosis is crazy. Like John Green was saying, the disease is where the cure is not, and the cure is where the disease is not in the wealthy countries. People should not be suffering, and people should not still be dying of tuberculosis in this day and age. And some people may be asking, why did John Green write this? Well, 1, you clearly don't know John Green, and 2, John Green wrote this because he is a good person and he cares and he's trying to make a difference. And you can tell in this book. He shares a few stories of people affected by tuberculosis, and one of the main stories is about this young man named Henry. The last 60 pages of the book I could not put down because I just had to know that Henry is okay, and I'm so glad that John Green told Henry's story, and you can truly just see how unfair all of this is through Henry's story. Tuberculosis is still seen as a disease of poverty, and in places like Sierra Leone, the doctors know the cure and they know how to heal people, but they just don't have the resources for it like in Western countries. I forget exactly what page this was on because I bookmarked so many, but at one point John Green asked the doctor, like, if we all had access to the same medical supplies and resources, do you think that people would still be dying of tuberculosis? And the doctor said, there would be no tuberculosis. Like, nobody should be dying of tuberculosis in this day and age. This part right here. My brother is my oldest friend, my closest collaborator, and his work has been transformative in many lives. This is John Green talking about himself. I would never accept a world where Hank, his brother, might be told, "I'm sorry, but while your cancer has a 92% cure rate when treated properly, there just aren't adequate resources in the world to make that treatment available to you." The world would be so obviously and unacceptably unjust. So how can I live in a world where Henry and his family are told that? Henry is a tuberculosis patient. How can I accept a world where over 1 million people will die this year for want of a cure that has existed for nearly a century? I'm sorry if I'm reading so many quotes, it's just that obviously John Green is way more well-spoken than me. Tuberculosis in the 21st century is really caused by those social determinants of health, which at their core are about human-built systems for extracting and allocating resources. The real cause of contemporary tuberculosis is, for lack of a better term, us. And then he goes on to say, like, this is good news, but this is also bad news because we have come so far from the beginning of tuberculosis, and we now know that it is a preventable, curable disease. Like, and there's no reason for it to be remaining the deadliest, but we as a society need to make a change. And if we don't, over 1 million people are going to continue to die from this awful disease every year. And I am obviously part of the problem because I did not know this. Like, I did not know 1 million people were still dying from tuberculosis. I thought that was in the past, but no, I'm just blinded by privilege. Okay, I need to shut up about that now, but you know, at least I'm talking about an important topic. Go read it. I don't know what book I'm going to pick next, but I will let you guys know. It'll probably be something lighter, and I think I need to choose a book that's been sitting on my shelves for a minute now, because even this book was one I bought this year. So let's see what we can find. So my physical TBR is now down to 34, but then I bought, I think, 7 books. So now my physical TBR is up to this magic number right here. So we've got a lot of reading to do before this video ends, because I at least want to get it back down to 35 before the end of this video. So buckle in. We're gonna be reading up a storm. Sam and I are about to leave for the airport because we're going to Italy and we're staying in Positano along the Amalfi Coast. And I'm not bringing any physical books, but last night when I was researching, I was downloading books on my Kindle, figuring out which Kindle Unlimited books I wanted to read. I was going through my physical TBR and seeing if any of those books are also on Kindle Unlimited, because 1, I don't really have space to bring books, and 2, if it's free on the Kindle and I also have a physical copy, I prefer to read it on the Kindle. That's just how I work. And I found 2 books that I own that are also on Kindle Unlimited. We have The Days I Loved You Most by Amy Neff. This sounds like a sad romance, like a drama. And then we have Great and Precious Things by Rebecca Yarros, which sounds like the exact same thing. Sounds like a sad romance kind of book. Which, is that the vibe for Italy? Not really. I've read Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros, that whole series, and then I read In the Likely Event by her. And her contemporary romances are so good. So I'm probably gonna start this one on the plane and see how it is. Hopefully I can finish these 2 books on the trip, and that will help me get my physical TBR back down to 35. I'm not gonna take my vlog camera, but I will share some clips of our trip right after this one. See you guys when I get back. Just kidding, I actually brought my vlog camera because Sam encouraged me to. Let's give you a house tour. Let me show you the view first. Here's the kitchen. Cute. Look at these little espresso cups. Here's a better view of the window. You can see the blue water from the kitchen as well. Kitchen tour. There's the fridge. Here's a bowl of snacks. Yeah. Living room. Adorable. This is my favorite part. Books to borrow, and they actually have a good selection up here. I see a lot of books I recognize. We have The Alchemist, a James Patterson novel, One Last Stop, Colleen Hoover, Ellen Hildebrand, The Perfect Couple. That could be a good beach read. I've seen this cover before too. Got some more up there. So fun. I'm the worst vlogger ever. This is why I just talk about books, but here's the staircase. We've got some beautiful art. And then up here is the bed and the bathroom. Look how cute that is. Obsessed. And there's AC. Hey. Here's the bathroom. Lovely shower. Toilet. Is that a bidet?
Probably.
The lovely AC unit. I love this plate. Here is Sam trying to figure out where to eat for dinner because he's hangry.
I'm not hangry.
And we have another view of the ocean from this little window. That was, I don't even know why I showed this. This is a reading vlog. Rethinks everything.
All of my patience to slow it down. She makes a mess of me, might be the death of me, unlikely casualty.
Hey everyone, we are back from Italy and we had the best time ever. I did end up finishing another physical TBR book for this video, and that is Great and Precious Things. And I didn't like it. Wouldn't recommend this one. I'm unhauling this book from my collection. I don't need it. This book means nothing to me. It just got harsher and harsher as I went on. Here's why I didn't like it. Number one, I didn't connect with the story at all. So that's a big one, really. And it ended up being a small town romance, which I guess I should have seen that coming. And it felt like the smallest town in the world. It was too small town for me because there were multiple chapters where there were council meetings. There were town council meetings every other chapter in this book. That's a little dramatic, but one town council meeting would have been enough. And we just kept going back to it, and I get why, because it's part of the plot. The only town council meetings I will accept are the ones in Gilmore Girls. Going along with the town council meetings, there were too many characters in this book. I couldn't keep up, I couldn't follow. Mainly because I didn't care. Like, if I had actually cared about the story, I would have tried harder to remember and gone back and reviewed stuff. But I did not care about this story and the 20 people that live there that did not need to be included in this story at all. Also, the romance felt so wrong. So wrong. Like, we're talking the summer I turned pretty, you know, dating brothers, but turn it up. Crank the notch to 3 million. That's how uncomfortable the romance made me feel. I don't know if that made sense, but if you read the summary, maybe you get it, I don't know. I don't know if it was wrong or I just didn't believe their romance. The romance just didn't work for me. End of the story. Why am I still talking about this book? I did not like this book. 2 stars. And there were not any cute moments that I wanted to highlight at all. But I definitely remember liking In the Likely Event by Rebecca Yarros, so I'd be interested to see what I think of that book if I read it now. Because this one, bye-bye. You're going in a little free library. I have this many books left unread on my bookshelves, but worry not. I am currently reading 2 more books that we can knock off that list. And if you watched the first episode of this TBR Takedown series, I was reading the Let Them theory in that video, and I am still reading this one. You know, you can't just sit down and read a self-help book in one sitting, but I'm going to try because I'm going back to the United States next week, and I'm definitely not bringing this book with me. I don't know if I'm bringing any physical book with me, so I need to sit down and finish this. I'm over halfway through with it, and the parts that I'm reading, I'm enjoying, but like I said in my other video, if you're actually going through a difficult time in your life and you read this book, you would probably be like, get out of my face. So if you just need like a little bit of motivation, this is good for you. The other book I'm currently reading, I'm not going to talk about it much because I believe I talked about it in my bookish fall reading vlog right here. But this is the book. It's called Do Your Worst, and it takes place in a Scottish castle. And the main character, Riley, is a curse breaker. So she's hired to get rid of this supernatural presence in this castle in Scotland. So the perfect fall read, honestly. I will let you guys know what I end up rating this though. Now, back to reading. Let's finish the Let Them theory. Okay, reading update. I am now on page 225 of the Let Them theory. I'm almost there. I am moving along. The last chapter was kind of boring to me, which is weird because I remember her saying that this is the most important chapter, but it wasn't working for me. The earlier chapters I was more invested in. I'm ready for this book to be over. I got what I needed from it, and it will probably just collect dust on my bookshelves. I'm being so harsh, but this book really, you can take away a lot from this book. You can make the most of this book if you really want to. But I'm mainly here to update you guys because I started one of the books that has been sitting on my shelf the longest, and that is Lovely War by Julie Berry. I remember buying this book, and that was a lifetime ago. It was 3 houses ago. Sam and I's first apartment, I bought this book. And I bought it with my friend Riley. We went book shopping to Barnes and I bought this book and another book, and I just never got to this book. She persuaded me to buy it by telling me it's one of her favorite books of all time, and it's just never really spoken to me. But after sitting down and reading 125 pages this morning, it's speaking to me. I'm invested and I want to finish this today. I don't think that's possible, but I can definitely finish it by the end of the weekend. It's Saturday right now. I think I can finish this by Sunday night. The summary on the back always confused me, but now that I've, read multiple chapters, I get what's going on. It has a little bit of Greek mythology as well, because Aphrodite is actually telling these 2 tales of great love that are taking place during World War I. And it's basically showing you that love conquers all, hopefully. And basically it starts because Aphrodite was caught cheating on her husband, and so now she's facing judgment from Mount Olympus or something, and so she is like, you guys don't even love me, her husband, whatever. And then the guy she's cheating on with, Ares, she's like, you guys don't even love me, so you don't get it. Let me tell you 2 stories about love. And then she's using these 2 stories that she kind of interfered with and pushed these couples together to like justify her actions. I don't exactly know how this is going to tie back to Aphrodite, but I am loving hearing these stories about these 2 different couples. I've only really known 1 couple so far, but I see the setup in the second couple and how they are going to meet, and I'm worried. I'm worried what's going to happen, and that's why this is such a fast-paced book, because you want to see what's going to happen. It is a long book though. It has almost 500 pages, but it's going by quickly, and the chapters are short. The writing's easy to follow. It's romantic. I'm having a good time. Like, what? Could this be a 5-star read that has been sitting on my bookshelf for years? Yeah. So let this be your sign to pick up that book you've been avoiding, because you might end up loving it. Yes, I could be jumping the gun, but I think this book is going to be a new favorite of mine. I will check back in with you guys later. Some reading updates. We are chipping away at this TBR. I know I briefly mentioned Do Your Worst, and I said I wasn't going to talk about it because I was talking about it in my other fall vlog, which is up right now. But surprise, I DNF'd it, so I didn't talk about it in that video either. I am counting it towards my TBR takedown though, because I read 50% of this and then I decided that I don't care. I gave the plot a chance and I just wasn't interested in it. It was almost a little bit too silly for me. I wasn't really rooting for these characters to get together. Yeah, they could have just been friends and I would have been fine with that. So when I decided that I wasn't invested in them and their relationship, since this is a romance, I put it down and I never picked it back up. And I will be taking this to a little free library. But hey, maybe someone else will love it. So with this book, I believe I got down to 40 books left on my TBR. And then just this morning, I got down to 39. Hopefully this is correct, otherwise I will correct myself on the screen. Because I finished Lovely War by Julie Berry this morning. It was incredible. I'm giving this book 5 stars. I know we had a DNF, but we also had a banger of a book. If you want to get into historical fiction, I think this is the perfect book for you because yes, it takes place in a historical setting, but it's also heavy on the romance. I wouldn't say it's heavy on the romance in the sense that these two couples are together a lot, but I would say that romance is a heavy force in pushing the story along. And the main theme of the book really is that love conquers everything and love is greater than war. I dog-eared so many pages because there were so many beautiful sentences, beautiful moments, and it was just really romantic. You can recommend this to anyone you know. It's appropriate and it's just really a beautiful story. I truly feel like anybody could like and appreciate this book. And I think it was so unique that it was being told from the Greek god's perspective. And every time I saw a different Greek god's name at the beginning of each chapter, I had a little hint at what would be happening in that chapter because it does switch point of views pretty often, but it is easy to follow, I promise. So if you're normally intimidated by historical fiction, just read this one because I promise you, you will enjoy it. I've made a little more progress on the let them theory, and I'm not ending this video until I finish the let them theory because I have been dragging this out for a minute. And I do need to finish this before Thursday because I'm flying back to the US and I'm not bringing this with me. And I'm so glad I finally read Lovely War because this has been on my bookshelves the longest, for sure. And that's just a reminder to everyone, read the books you own because there might be a 5-star read just sitting there waiting for you to crack it open. If I finish this, I will be back down to 37 unread books, which is still too higher than what I started this video with, but I'm just a girl. I'll update you guys later. Finished the let them theory this morning. This was my last chance to finish it because I'm leaving for the US tomorrow and this is not coming with me. I'm letting this remain here. I'm not gonna rate this. I don't know, sometimes I do rate nonfiction, sometimes I don't. And that's just how it works around here. I don't necessarily hate this, but I also didn't necessarily love it. The beginning of it did speak to me, but you can only read so much of the same motivating woo-woo type stuff until it just seems like a little ridiculous, you know? But you really can make the most of this book if you want to, and you can let this change your life if you want. I was really invested in the first half, and then the second half was kind of repetitive, and I found that it didn't apply to me. The only reason I was able to finish this is I skipped over the romance section where she's talking about heartbreak and breakups and how to find your person because I found my person. And then the last chapter was kind of like a recap of everything, and there was one sentence that did speak to me. In the last chapter, the people and situations around you are like the weather. The fact is you can never control other people, how they think, how they act, whether or not they love you, or how fast they check you out at the grocery store. So why on earth would you ever give them the level of control over you that you have been? Why would you ever entrust something as precious as your confidence, your peace of mind, your happiness, and your dreams to the whims and moods of the people around you? I do love that. You really can't let your life be controlled by the thoughts of other people. So that wraps up this video, and I think by finishing the let them theory, my TBR is back down to 37, not down to 30, which was my original goal for this video. However, in my third episode of this, maybe we can get down to 30. But first, make sure you subscribe down below so you'll be notified when I post the third episode of this TBR Takedown series. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. It would make me so happy. I read 5 books in this video off of my TBR. A win is a win. And I hope you guys will stick around. See you in my next video.